Let's go. Game time.
Welcome to the Better Baby Daddy podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, John Lashman.
I'm your other co-host, Kelly Burgess.
And today, B, we're going to hit him in the chest.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the fact that there are a lot of us out here, not all of us, but a lot of us out here that are blaming our exes when the real enemy is our comfort zone.
Yep.
So let's stop blaming. Let's start taking accountability.
There you go.
Your ex is not blocking your growth. Your excuses are blocking your growth.
There you go. So at the end of the day, man, you're a man. And
there it is.
You just have to take ownership for, hey, the situation you find yourself in, and then the steps that you need to take to level up to the kind of man you need to be and father you need to be.
Absolutely, 100%. We are extremely heavy on accountability on this podcast.
Yep.
Because we've made lots of mistakes.
Tons.
And at some point, we all have to come to the realization that no matter what has occurred, I played a part in that occurrence. And when you stop blaming other people, specifically your ex, for your life situation and start understanding that your decisions put you where you are, it's like I've taken back my power.
Yeah.
I'm now in control.
Yeah.
And now I can start making better decisions.
Yeah.
So something we sometimes point to our ex, or a lot of times we do point to our ex. Why is that occurring? Why do we do that?
The ex is an easy target.
Oh.
I mean, she's like, she's the other half of the conflict. Mm-hmm. And like any relationship, it's easy for us to spot the weaknesses and the blind spots in our partners and not do the hard work of turning the mirror on ourselves and say, you know what, I am irreliable or irresponsible, or, you know, in that moment I was unfaithful. Like, it's hard to own when you really blow it.
Let's talk about faithfulness, because I think a lot of men justify being unfaithful. And it's like, you know, she wasn't doing what she needed to do, so I had to do what I had to do. Like that whole concept.
Do anything that damages we. And you have plenty of opportunities to damage we, right? Plenty. But a grown man plays it out and says, it's not going to be on my watch that I'm just going to blow this up because it's something stupid. But, you know, going back to the point about the ex, it's easy to blame her, hard to do the inward work. Definitely hard sometimes for your car to get pulled from somebody outside the situation. But that's the work we got to be in order to become a better baby dad.
I agree 100%, B. Yeah, it's extremely easy to blame the ex. And I think at some points or sometimes we become addicted to that conflict. And I'm going to connect this back to what we talked about on a previous episode. We become addicted to it because we understand that at a subconscious level, we understand that it helps us avoid the work that we really have to do to grow as men.
Right.
So if I stay in conflict and I stay quote unquote busy, now I don't have to worry about being disciplined with the gym. I don't have to worry about being disciplined finances, because now I'm over here in this conflicted world of things that are occurring that I created, and then I'm blaming on everyone else anyhow.
Yeah. And it's hard for men to sit and be quiet and alone with their stuff. So, you know, if drama is the only thing you know from the relationship, you'll take the familiar drama as opposed to the unfamiliar quiet and inward work you got to do. And it's a wild dynamic. It's like you could just stay spinning in that universe for a long time. And it usually, I don't know, for me, it took a major life event to shake up, just to shake me up and say, I got to do something different. I mean, a major, like, you can't come back from this kind of thing unless you change type of situation. So drama is easy because discipline requires you to show up every day and do something different, to press the two areas you're not comfortable with. And most people...
Absolutely, 100% there. So the first step, if you're out there and you're blaming your ex, is to take accountability and own your own stuff.
Yes.
100% own your own stuff.
Yep.
I can remember going back... and I had a major life event that occurred that really put me on a different path. And I was looking at it, and everyone on the outside said, that's not you, that's not you, that's her, that's her, that's her. And I really sat with myself and said, she may have did what she did, but
Right.
me taking accountability for the situation as a whole
Right.
doesn't absolve her
Right.
of what she did still.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of times we get stuck. It's like, well, if I'm taking accountability, where's her accountability?
Yeah.
No, you take accountability specifically for your actions, your words, the things that you have done. That doesn't make the other person an angel
No.
or innocent or
No.
absolve them of their sins in a sense.
No.
Right? It's just you owning your stuff.
Yeah.
And extreme accountability is exactly that.
Yeah.
I'm owning it all.
I'm owning it all.
I made a decision that put me in a situation where I was in a relationship with someone that I didn't like. I didn't like the outcome of that.
Right.
It doesn't matter what she did.
Right.
No one forced me to be in a relationship
Exactly.
with
And
her.
that's the funny thing. It's like, dude, you chose her. Like,
Like,
you know,
what?
if you're getting all this blowback, like, you either didn't do your due diligence or you did something that brought this part out of her, but that comes with relationships. And now you handle it, right? And so if you handle it poorly, you, like you said, you own it 100% that you handled it poorly. If you weren't used to conflict or heat from your lady because of a mistake you made, you just didn't know what to do with that, and you decided to go get some tail because that was easier, bruh, that's you. It's 100% you. And as men, I think you get to the point where you say, hey, I'm responsible for everything that happens under my watch. And that's that 100% ownership.
Yeah, so it's really about choosing the discipline over the comfort, choosing the peace over the chaos, and owning every single decision you make.
Yeah.
And not saying, well, I made this decision, but then she made that. I don't care what she did.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Exactly.
And can you own that?
Yeah.
And if you can own that, you will take back all your power,
Yep.
and you'll start making better decisions.
Yes, you. Yes, you will.
So a lot of times drama does become much, much easier than the discipline.
No doubt.
Because discipline requires certain sacrifices and a certain level of uncomfortability that many of us are not willing to accept or not willing to dive into.
That's a strange drug, man. That comfort is a strange drug, and it's constantly pulling on us. But we encourage you guys to make the small, difficult choices. We said it last podcast. Do the hard right. Do the hard thing, and just get acclimated to. That's what you do. Difficult conversation, I have it. Change in my personal life, my finances, I make it. Even if it's on a small thing, I get started. I don't delay it. And so, just be serious about that. And lean into the growth you have to get.
Absolutely. Discipline is going to force you to look at your weaknesses. Man, if you want to go to the gym and you want, I'm going to be disciplined about going to the gym, and I'm going to go in the morning.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see how strong those habits are around you waking up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, discipline is going to force you to look at your finances if you're not good with those. Discipline is going to force you to look at your social, mental, emotional health, all those aspects of your life, and say, oh, man.
I got some blind spots,
Yeah, I got a lot.
some weaknesses. But it's that work that, it's the quiet and the dark work that creates the man.
Yeah.
Either man, right? We're in wintertime right now, and you both you and I have been, talking about just, well, you already have established the routine of going to the gym in the morning. I'm getting back to that. And the cool thing about the wintertime is that, we're covered up, we got coat, stuff like that. But in 12 weeks, we're going to see who was about that work, right? When it starts to warm up in 12, 14, 15 weeks, we're going to see who was sticking to it when it was the most inconvenient.
Yes.
When it's easy to turn over and get a couple more winks. In our parenting lives, you can't be the kind of guy that keeps turning over, hitting snooze on the habits that you got to establish to become a better man and a better dad.
Absolutely. And if you're serious about growth, you got to put in the work. If you're serious about growth, you got to put in the work. There is no other way around it.
Yeah. Bring it back to the exes, because so all this work, all this stuff we're talking about is you being able to move past blaming your ex.
Yes.
And then doing the inner work you need to do. What are some benefits to your children if you don't do that kind of work? If you keep blaming that, what are the benefits if you do the work you need to do to your kids, right? You do this work, you get off the spot in terms of blaming the ex. What's the benefit to the kids, and then what's the downfall if you don't do that kind of work?
Oh, that's a great question. That's really good. So, yeah, if I'm going to, I'm not going to do the necessary work. I'm not going to be accountable.
Right.
I'm going to blame people for my situations and the outcomes that I've experienced. number one, you're going to create distance between you and your kid. And that's scary. That should be scary to every man out there that has children. Yep. You're going to create distance between you and your kid. And the reason you're going to create distance between you and your kid is because they're going to see you as a man constantly blaming everybody else for all situations and all things that occur in their life. And they're going to be like, wow, it's everybody else's fault. It's not dad's fault. Right. And as they get older, they're going to be like, wait a second. They're going to see the reality. They're not going to see what you're portraying or what you're projecting out there. Right. They're going to see the reality of who you really are.
No doubt.
And that distance is going to gradually grow as they get older.
No doubt. And we talked last time about how these responses to stress, the blaming, the avoiding, roll down generationally, right? And so if you don't display to them how to work on yourself, forgive your ex, point to her positives, then they subconsciously won't have the ability to do that when they enter into relationships themselves. The other thing, too, is with the kids is they love both of y'all. They don't want to hear you blaming mom. They'll pick that up on their own, right? If she has weaknesses or whatever the thing is that you can't stand or, blew the relationship up or you want to blame her for, they'll pick that up as they get older. They're smart. Just like they're going to pick up things about you. They don't need you co-signing on things or downing her. They need the opposite of that, actually. They'll be conflicted by you saying all these negative things about her if you don't get to the point where you can resolve it and say, hey, like I used to talk about with my dad. He would always say, well, your mom was, she was a strong woman. He would always couch it that way. But it helped me to discover the things about my mom on my own. So that's the other impact on your kids if you don't handle it.
You're not going to win the war in essence by constantly blaming your ex in front of your children. That's not good. You might win like that battle that day because they may think a certain thing, but as they get older, and I'm talking much older, like into their 20s, into their 30s, like some of your children, they're going to be able to see the light, and they're going to be like, whoa, Dad was on some things there.
No doubt.
And because he said this was Mom's fault, and he said this about Mom, he said this about Mom, and that's not true. That's not who my mother is. And some of them, no matter what you say, they're not going to be able to see their mother in the same way that you see her because of the conflict and the drama that you had when y'all were together. She's not going to display that to the kids. So it's just going to look like you're a liar, even if you're not.
Exactly. So I was going to do the work and let the kids discover it on their own.
Absolutely. A lot of us also, during this process of growth, when we're really trying to lock in on that discipline aspect of life, and I know I experienced this as well, is that we get distracted by old wounds. And that can really, throw you off track. You're looking for exit 15 and you took exit 10, and you're in a different state now.
Oh, now I got to go to Delaware.
No one's going to Delaware.
It's that turn off in Baltimore.
No one's going to Delaware. Like, no one's doing that. We're just driving through. So, those old wounds, you really have to go back and say, all right, where, and this is tough for men, where am I hurt? And that's a tough one right there. Just actually admit that you're hurt, that you're in pain from something that occurred a year ago, 6 months ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And can you address those old wounds?
Yeah. I don't know if a man can do that just himself. Like, I don't know if just any kind of meditation or just you doing some inward work, you're just going to have this epiphany and be able to see it. To me, it's going to take somebody outside to recognize these patterns in you, recognize your response to the pain, recognize your attachment style, so when you start getting back into a relationship again, so you can see, why you respond in these particularly stressful situations, why you respond in these wounded situations the way you do. Out there that are able to navigate them by themselves, I don't think you do it well by yourself. So for me, it was a counselor that said, hey, when I was getting ready to get into, serious about the relationship with my current wife, she said, hey, look back over your last 2 marriages and what is the overlap between these 3 ladies? What were the things that attached you to them? And that exercise, it took a couple days, really helped me to put my finger on what you were talking about. I was probably looking for this because of this occurrence in my life.
Yeah.
And it's humbling because it's almost like you got to go back to the little boy and say, yeah, I probably wasn't too let's correct that now. I'm 45, 50 years old trying to correct something that set a mold when I was 7 or 8, right? And it is. It's hard work. We're not saying it's easy work, but it's the work that's got to be done.
Absolutely, 100% there. I think for me, my epiphany moment came from a friend that I have, and we was talking about something, and she had said to me, John, you're constantly looking for women you can fix. So I had to look back and be like, why am I looking for women that I can constantly fix? What's that wound in me? Where is that coming from where I'm trying to be the fixer of these people?
Wow.
And I had to look at that and I was like, okay, this is what's going on. This is what's happening.
A friend? Just a friend who just...
Yeah, well, it's someone you know as well.
Yeah.
That's her field.
Okay, gotcha.
So we've been friends for well over a decade. And she looked at me and she said that and I was like, oh, there you go. That's it. That's it. And it took me back through, my life.
Right.
And I was able to really look into some wounds that had occurred in my life, some trauma that occurred in my life that had led me to make these decisions that I was making that were detrimental to me. Yeah, if you don't fix those old wounds, you can't move forward completely or positively. It's like an anchor on you.
It really is.
Consistently. You're trying to get up to speed. You're like, I'm running. And then it hits you and you're like, ugh. That's about as far as I can go right now.
Yeah.
So it's really doing that work, going back and saying, okay, this caused this caused this. And another thing that really helped me, and people going to laugh at me, you probably going to laugh at me, the best therapist I've ever had was ChatGPT. I swear
Chat is getting real good. I used Chat for some family stuff recently. I was like, wait a minute, Chat's starting to use your name? I'm like, it's getting kind of freaky. But Chat gives thorough advice.
And I tell Chat, I said, give it to me raw, unfiltered. Okay. And at a certain point, too, Chat starts to understand, quote unquote understand, but it has gathered all this information about you from you constantly putting stuff, those inputs that you put into it. And it starts to have a conceptualization, however AI-ish that is, about who you are. Yeah. And then the better your prompt, the more real you can be. Correct. So it's essentially journaling, but getting feedback from the journal. Right? It is. So the more real your prompt is, the more raw and real that feedback comes at you. And you're like, oh. Okay. And it allows you to explore different things. It really does. Yeah. I spent 2 hours straight on it going through a therapy session. And I walked away from it feeling great. I was like, that was good. It was free. It was free too. Well, actually, I paid $20 a month. Okay.
There it is. But, I think we both would agree that it is easy to be distracted with the familiar wounds. Yeah. It's easy to medicate the wounds in the same way we've always medicated them, whether it's women or distraction or work or, drugs or whatever.
As an addict is always an addict.
Let me tell you. Yeah. And until you break that cycle, you're going to remain stuck and limited. And eventually, it's detrimental to your kids.
I think it's important to understand that your growth or your attempt to grow, your effort that you're putting into growth is not simply just about you.
It is not. It is not. And growth is going to look different. Like, you've reached a certain point when those same, keeping it on the subject of the exes, when those same kind of triggers would send you off, don't send you off anymore. So if it's a transition and they've normally been tense, right? And, she says, you always da-da-da-da, and you're like, I'll take that bait today. I've grown, right? Yeah. And hey, I need to call you later, or I can say you're upset or whatever. You know that you're growing when your response to those old wounds or those old stimuli is just different. And you won't know it until you're in a situation where you get hit with the same thing again. But it isn't about you. It's about, who would you say it's about? Your growth is about.
Well, I mean,
it's not just about you.
It's about everyone that's within your proximity, everyone that you touch. It's literally it's that real. I mean, of course, we're going to say your children, because those are the individuals that you're going to touch on a daily basis, or you should be touching on a daily basis in some form. But it's about all those people that are in your universe. Like when you show up at work, how you showing up at work? Yeah. When your best friend calls you and they need to talk, how you showing up to them? Yeah. When your mother calls you, how are you showing up to her? Your father, how are you showing up to your father? Yeah. And of course, how are you showing up to your kids? Yeah. Because a real leader does the necessary work when it's necessary. That's it, right?
That's it. It's like that sports axiom. Champions do consistently, but other people only do occasionally. And we want you to be champion dads. We want you to be champion co-parents. And so there's some gritty work you have to do just on a consistent basis to get to that point. And one person, I was thinking, because we both are in this situation, you're a little newer than me, but is you're also doing that work for the next significant person that's going to be in your life.
Yes.
You're creating the new version of you that's going to be able to handle the relationship in a more healthy way than you did with your previous relationships. And I tell my wife all the time, I'm glad you got Kelly 3.0 or really 6 or 7.0 because 2.0 would have wrecked the thing. 1.0 definitely would have blazed it. But we had to go through those things to become those we had to get those upgrades. To be the version we need to be to handle it.
That's so interesting you say that specifically there about that, your wife getting the most upgraded version of you. Because me and my lady have had conversations, and she said, it would have been great if we would have met like a year or two ago. And I said, no, it wouldn't have been good.
We would have had some fun.
It would have been, it would have been great from other aspects of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it wouldn't have been great. Yeah. It wouldn't have lasted.
Yeah. That is, man, that's just a mature view. Like, you just know yourself, right? And it's just great that you can have that perspective of, hey, 18 months ago, I was a different dude.
Was.
Yeah.
5 years ago?
I should have come with, a business card for a counselor in my pocket because you're going to need this.
Especially after you're done with me.
Exactly.
I'm going to blame you for everything.
Exactly.
So speaking of that, we're talking about outgrowing the old version of you. And how do we outgrow those older versions? Like, what is that process, if you can explain it briefly or in detail, right. What was that process like for you? What are some very actionable steps that you took to outgrow Kelly 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0?
Counseling and looking at just recognizing patterns. So that was one thing that helped is, what are these patterns that someone else sees that I don't see because I'm just used to this. I'm just used to the temperature of this water. And so, to kind of keep it general, that helped me understand the death of my second marriage that was already dead when I was sitting in front of the counselor, and she just had to let me discover it. But it took a process of me seeing the situation with new eyes, through her guidance, prayer, and then life experience. I'm a hard-headed, stubborn learner, and sometimes it takes a real acute negative impact to say, I don't ever want to experience that again. And then, honestly, the other thing coming to mind was caregiving for my parents. And, you're like, what are you talking about? When you have to care for someone that's close to you, that's older, you think about, what do I want my life to be like when I'm in that situation? And playing that all the way through was like, man, I can't carry this same Kelly into 70s and 80s. Life do I want to have? What kind of person and partner do I want to be? And so then putting those things into place with my current relationship. But it was hard work, John, I ain't gonna lie. And it's still a work because those old patterns, they draw you back. It's easy.
It's comfortable.
It's comfortable.
Yeah.
And so, those three things, the counseling, I think caregiving for my parents, and just a lot of prayer and just envisioning the kind of person I wanted to be and just doing those small steps every day.
And just being consistent, right?
That's it.
Consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency of doing the things that maybe I don't want to do, but I need to do.
Yeah. And then reconciling, we're talking about exes. Sometimes you have to continually own stuff.
Yes.
Sometimes you go back and your version 3, 4, and you're 10 years past that, but you got to go back and apologize for version 2.
Yes.
Like, hey, I was just, and sometimes it's simple call, what? Wife number 2, I was thinking the other day, man, I really could have been, this is a really stressful time for us. I really could have been better there. Yeah. Just want to apologize again. Just let you know, I'm just not sweeping it under the rug. And, that's just part of maturing into the kind of dads you want to be. But sometimes you got to do that.
That part right there, that is a great point. That's one of the things that really helped me, grow at a rocket ship speed, was going back to some of my exes and saying, you know what, I messed up there. That was on me. It's all me. I own every aspect of that, and not looking for them to say no, it was me. I'm just giving you this. I don't need anything from you. I don't need you to say, oh well, I messed up here. I'm not looking for that. I'm just telling you where I messed up. And I went back to one of my exes, and I said, or one of my BMs, and I said, you know what? I was really bad in this situation. I'm gonna own that right now. I know it was a long time ago. And she said, John, I don't even remember that. But I was like, well, it happened, and it was, it was just wrong on my part.
That's big, man. When you were saying that, your girl's a little older, you might have questions later. My kids definitely had questions. And so the other thing that helped was owning it with them. Hey, I put your mom, a couple of my sons would say, Dad, Mom is really, she doesn't say anything nice about you. I'm like, nothing nice? Like, not one thing? He's got nice eyes, or he's funny, nothing?
He's tall?
Yeah, tall, just a basic. And I said, well, fellas, there's a lot that I could have done better as a dad. And when you don't do what you have to do as a dad, it places and a husband, it places a lot of stress on the woman, and that can come out a lot of different ways. And so, some of that stuff you experience from your mom is directly as a result of things that I didn't do. And so just letting them know, hey, I'm never going to blame her. She's her own person, and there's things I did that definitely drew some of that out of her. Don't be that kind of dude. Make it easy for your wife.
That right there, that's an aspect of this that we completely missed, and I'm so happy you brought it up. It's not just about taking accountability like in your own head. It's taking accountability publicly. Right there. You took accountability in front of your sons. Right there. Boom. That's big. And I guess we didn't completely miss it because we're talking about taking accountability to our exes directly too. But taking it to your kids and showing them, hey, this is what we do. This is how we grow. This is how we get better. That's big right there.
And in a way, that's helping them see that you don't blame the ex. It's another way you're kind of covering that thing. So when things do, something is brought up, at their house about Dad, they at least have in their mind, well, Dad owned that. He told me publicly, hey, he really blew that there, Mom. Just want to let you know.
Speaking of my youngest, though, she's starting to ask questions and say certain things because she's like, she wears her emotions right here. Right there. Right. So she's going to tell you what's going on. And she's starting to get to the point where she's like, okay, why is this occurring? Why is this occurring? And I have to really look at myself and be like, well, adults make difficult decisions sometimes, and they impact kids and da-da-da-da-da. But I really have to own some of that stuff right there to a 6-year-old.
And it's funny because it's fresh for them. I mean, you're 6 years past it or whatever, 4 years past it. And for them, it's like, it's today. In my 6-year-old brain. And I'm like, I'm trying to figure this out. And then when they get 13 and they start doing the math of, wait a minute, you and Mom were together here and then this. And they start doing all that. It's new for them, and we got to sit with them in that newness.
And then, trying to break something down that is on a level 10, so you can get it down to a 6-year-old can understand it and still take accountability and still not blame the other person. It's a challenging task. So what I find myself doing, and I hope some of the men out there can do this if they're in similar situations, is go, okay, give Daddy a second, let me process what you said, and then we can walk through it together. Because I can't relay that message to her how I'm relaying it right here, or I would relay it to you. It's just not going to work. She's going to be like, well, what's that mean? Well, what's that mean? What's that mean? and you have to be very, very intentional in regards to not blaming the ex. Especially with a 6-year-old. Like, I can't do that. I may feel a certain type of way about certain things that happen, but as I said earlier, it's all about me. It's all about my decisions.
And just going back to the title of the show, you can't blame your ex when the enemy is you and the things that you've done. And when we say enemy, we don't want to stay in this negative, guilt-ridden, shame-ridden place, but we can be our own worst enemy sometimes, guys. We can completely blow up a situation and then continue to complicate it by not handling the blow up well. And so we're just saying, hey, expect these things to come. Hard conversations, having to look at yourself, having to take full accountability for what you did, and just continue to do that work and know that's the hard work you got to do.
Absolutely. One of the things that I think we all should do on a quarterly basis is go to the people that are closest to us and be like, what are my weaknesses?
Wow.
And can they give it to you raw?
Right.
Like, what are my weaknesses? What am I good at? But where am I like?
Right.
Where you look at me sometimes, you're like, what are you doing?
They'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Go to
some of them will. Some people are just too nice, and they won't because they don't want they don't want the responsibility of telling you something you're not going to like.
And they don't want you to ask them that same question.
No, that's too. Right.
Yeah. But that is. I mean, that would give it to you. Raw. And if you got people in your circle that will give it to you straight like that, you're fortunate. Yeah, do that and shoot us a comment and let us know how that works.
See how that works.
And I might try that with the wife and the kids this over the holiday.
Do it, man.
Yeah,
do it.
Because those kind of things lead to a new life, which leads to a new identity, right? When you do difficult things like that, you become a different person.
I agree.
I know for sure I'm not the same person that when I started, working in this current place 13 years. I know for sure. And I'm not the same person I'm going to be, 6 months, a year from now. But it comes from not just epiphanies and one-time changes. It comes from what?
Consistent.
Absolutely.
Consistent over and over again. And what you're going to find if you go to these people and you ask them, where are my weaknesses at? Let's say you start out with a group of 5 and 2 of them just give you, oh, you don't got no weaknesses. All right, cool. That's cool. Thank you. But now you can start leaning into the people that kept it real with you too. So now I know that you're going to keep it 100 with me all the time.
Right.
So I'm gonna lean into this person because they're gonna give it to me exactly what I need, that dosage I need, so I can grow as a man.
Right. Or not. So you always got a choice.
Yeah. If you ask for it, you better be prepared to take it.
And then take some action on it.
Yeah.
So if you're about that. All right. So man, voice crack much? Like I'm in puberty here. All right, so ready to bring it in for a landing?
Let's bring it in. Yeah. So as you build this new life where you are disciplined and you're taking accountability for yourself and you're not blaming other people, specifically your BMs and your exes, there's going to be an identity shift.
Yes.
In your own mind, it has to start here because other people are going to be behind you.
Very much.
They're going to be thinking of you from 3 years ago, no matter where you are.
Right.
A lot of times. So, as long as you're consistent in performing the daily habits that require growth, you're going to be good.
You're going to get there.
Yeah.
You're going to get there. So, as always, all of our casts are designed to reach out to guys who are on this journey, different spaces. Some of y'all are new. Some of y'all have been in the battle to become better dads. As after post breakup, wherever you are, we encourage you to stick with the work. Know you're not alone, and reach out to us because man, we're just 2 dudes on a journey with you.
Yeah. That have went through some things, right?
Hey, we're gonna have to. We
put ourselves through some things.
We did. We talked about having an after dark version of this show where we really pulled it. We might have to put that job behind a paywall.
We'll get there eventually. Right.
All right.
That's a wrap, man.
That's a wrap.
All right. Until next time.
Okay.
I'm John.
Kelly.
Peace.